And now, Gimmick Infringement!
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell Blake. And Tyler, I missed a countdown today. I didn't see the countdown. I started yammering, and then I saw a countdown. We're on a different platform now, and this is our first recording there. Before we start, before I get an update from you, I have to give an update based on GI at the Movie Superman Edition. My mom and dad went today, and right before we started recording, I had a text message pop up. My mom does not like sci-fi or superhero movies at all. She went, absolutely loved the movie, thought it was great. She's like, the special effects alone were great, but I just loved the movie. That is a glowing recommendation if ever I had one. If people were on the fence about going to see this movie, my mom liked it. You have to go. That's it. How are you doing?
First of all, I see you, Sherry. That's a huge update. That's really a pivotal endorsement, Brad. Okay,
Yes.
I still have not seen it, admittedly. This is the moment where I would say, oh, Brad, I saw it and I agree with you all. It was great.
You've been busy.
Yes, the first week at a new job. I think our audience knows how this goes, regardless of career field, especially in education. The onboarding process, the policies, the new faces, the new names, the where do you get this, who do you go to for that. Yeah, it was a very informative week, a blessed week as well, and I'm excited for what's to come this school year. How you been?
Been good. Been busy. This week was a weird week. Monday morning I was back in the auditorium and getting set up for a 4-day long presentation. Yesterday I went back in, or actually yesterday and Friday I went back in and did a lot of work, a lot of cleaning. Had a student with me the whole time helping out. Had an extra hand. Yesterday we moved a server cart up the light booth stairwell, which that stairwell is not, it's just 90-degree turns and really short landings. And it was a lot, man. It was a lot. It was who stands on the staircase side, because that's the person that's most likely going to die if something goes awry. So of course I had the students down there because I wasn't going to risk it. So we got the cart up to the top, and it was a lot of work, and felt really good. It felt really accomplished. I felt really accomplished afterward. There's miles to go, so much more work to do. I don't think I'll ever get all of it done at the start of the school year, but I just feel like it was a good start, and I'm happy that we're rolling on. Now, I haven't talked to you about any of these things yet. I haven't talked to you about your thoughts, but maybe I'll save it for what do we miss. But did you catch the ESPYs? Did you catch the WNBA All-Star Game, Tyler?
Yes, I caught. Yes, with an asterisk. I caught the beginning of the ESPYs, so I saw Shane Gillis' monologue.
Same.
Where are we at with Shane Gillis? There are two very different sides to the Shane Gillis experience on the timeline.
Wrote a question
not unlike many other famous people. Where is Brad Winchester at with Shane Gillis? What did you think of the ESPY monologue?
I wrote this in my what did we miss for the week. Shane Gillis has met with the kind of reaction you'd assume would happen from a Shane Gillis performance.
Yeah,
that's where we're at. I think people that were
right.
unfamiliar with, like, I can't believe he would say something like that, like the Waffle House comment. Most of the people that I saw online that were outraged were white folks about that particular comment. I thought the WNBA comment was hilarious, being like, shout out to WNBA star whoever it was. It's like, I'm just kidding. That's my friend. I knew none of you would know who these people are. Was probably not the best thing in the world to say for the WNBA. I didn't love that, but also, I mean, it was kind of funny. It was a funny joke with how many people clapped. I just feel like it felt like an indictment joke, and I didn't like that part. But
right. And was the critique about the W and its players, or was it about people on the timeline and other places who claim to be about the W and about supporting women in sports, but don't know the athletes, or don't really follow as closely as they would portray themselves? He's a very, I don't know if tantalizing is the right word, but
he's divisive.
He's divisive.
He lives on that line though, and I think he rides that line really
like
well.
a lot of comedians.
I don't think the I don't know if throwing out the gay joke was the best thing in the world. The "Hey Girl" thing bugged me and rubbed a bunch of athletes the wrong way. I know LeBron was pretty upset about it too. That was the only one where I went like, yeah, I wouldn't have done that one. The other ones, I thought the Caitlin Clark joke was hilarious. I'm not gonna lie to you, I laughed. That one got me. That one popped me. But it also made me go like, how do people feel about him giving that joke? And that's the part that I wonder about. But I think sometimes we try to read into it, especially the two of us who come from a background of analyze the words. I think we try to find the subtext and try to find all of these different things and motivation and historical rationale and all of the reasons for the joke instead of, well, maybe it was just a funny basketball joke. And I don't know if that's where it is either. I felt like I needed permission to laugh at some of it. And I think that's where I am with it. And hopefully that makes sense.
Oh, it does. And it's a reflection of where we're at with comedy as well, particularly now with, again, the advent and social media playing such a critical role in entertainment. What's that line that you referenced, Brad, that comedians have to kind of, do that push and pull between, okay, comedy should always be edgy, but I think now we have a lot of heightened sensitivities toward if you're mocking a certain demographic of people. That's
the part.
Okay, let's say Richard Pryor could get away with that decades ago, but now it's a different landscape. And how do you? He's very interesting. I will say, and you know this, I've said it on air before. Actually, I do enjoy Tires, the show he I believe co-created and stars in on Netflix. Season 1 was pretty much a miss for me, but season 2 was awesome. Really enjoyed it. When I watch it, it's Shane Gillis to the max. So to your point, I think I was prepared. For his style. So I was pretty indifferent about it. It's what I expected it to be. Some of the jokes I did find funny, and just his delivery and his brand is different than historically what I'm used to in comedy. So for him, it's a big look to be on that stage, a new name, at least for me, in the comedy business. To your point, I know there was a lot of critique online, which is perhaps unsurprising. Admittedly, I need to watch the rest of the show. I caught the beginning, and then I want to say I went to Big Brother or maybe Dynamite or something else. Yeah. So it wasn't that I didn't. It wasn't I didn't want to watch the rest of the show, but you know how it goes. Wednesday's a stacked night of television here in Glendale. In terms of the WNBA All-Star Game, I thought it was a downgrade from last year, Brad. I was really disappointed. The game itself, Team Fee, absolutely stacked. Not surprising that they would be up by 20 at halftime. However, what did surprise me was the lack of defense in the game.
Oh my goodness, thank you.
And how do I want to phrase this? Okay, Glorilla. I love supporting a Memphis artist. She is Memphis to the max. Shout out to 901. I have a lot of affinity for the city. When I watched her halftime performance, I felt every bit of 32 that I am. I even hit up a friend of mine.
That's so good.
This is a Kim Thompson moment. Kim, a former dear colleague whose family has been longtime fans of the W and of the Mercury since its inception in the 90s. She's a real one. I even hit up Kim, who's older than me, and we agreed, we have no idea what Glorilla is saying. And then so I kind of... We did some research on Memphis, and when you listen to more Memphis accents, you start to get it a little bit more. But anyway, shout out to Glorilla and her success. What do I know, Brad? I'm a 30-something single dude who co-hosts a podcast. Glorilla's one of the emerging artists in hip-hop. But the halftime performance, the game, it just didn't resonate with me the way I thought it would. Last year's All-Star Weekend was awesome. With this one, you also had Caitlin Clark being injured, and she was supposed to be a central figure in all this. But love seeing Natasha Cloud win the skills contest. Love seeing her teammate Sabrina Ionescu win the 3-point contest. So Friday to me was a better viewing experience than Saturday. And I actually thought it was probably going to be more equal, if not flipped around heading into this All-Star break. What say you?
I popped in at the end of the the start of the second quarter. I was like, oh shoot, I can't watch this. I can't watch this live. Then I realized it was on Disney Plus and I could just stream it. And because I went to the app and I was like, oh, certainly League Pass is going to have this on the app, but nope. So I had to get, because it was nationally broadcast, but luckily ABC was doing it through Disney Plus, so I was able to watch it. And I picked up at the start of the second quarter and I saw the score and it was like 49 points. Are they trying? I wrote down in my notes, Tyler, the WNBA All-Star game made me miss Kobe Bryant. They need somebody to come out in the All-Star game and just defensively floor somebody and set the tone early. Like,
because that's our critique of the men's game. That's why I watch the player intros, but in terms of the NBA All-Star weekend,
it was like the Pro Bowl. It was just like an
they've
unwatchable.
Been down bad. They've been down bad for a while.
It's like watching Summer League, but with stars in it. I don't want to watch this.
It's bad. I mean, it's a glorified exhibition.
Yeah, no and it is an exhibition, but like, give me some pride. Don't like I want to win, not just I want to.
Yeah, it's like a practice. It's like practice. I think practice is maybe the better word than exhibition. There's just practice. No defense. Talking about practice, man, not a game. Practice. Yeah, it was kind of a downer. I'm sure the league will make it up come postseason time. But what I found more interesting than Shane Gillis or than the actual WNBA All-Star game itself was and continues to be the ongoing labor negotiations and the CBA of it all. Yeah. Big ups to Desmond Powell, fellow 19 Media Group teammate, host of Hip to the Games, for joining us last week for our WNBA special. If you haven't checked that out, please do so. We love having Des on. So, Brad, the CBA of it all with the players wearing "Pay Us What You Owe Us" t-shirts, that being acknowledged on the broadcast, that's what really piqued my interest that the WNBA is as popular as it's ever been. And they're also coming up on this watershed moment of how is Kathy Engelbert and company in the league office going to handle this, because WNBA players, when you look at those salaries, Brad,
it's pathetic.
They're
teacher salaries.
Caitlin Clark was making $70,000 last year. The calculus, people may say, oh, well, the WNBA isn't, they're not bringing in consistent revenue and this, that, and the other. I find that hard to believe, man. It's the league is on fire right now, and I'm grateful that you and I are living in a time where we have GI. And we know so many people in our lives who rock with the WNBA across gender lines. And I think it's only going to get bigger and better from here. So that part really is what I was focusing on as well. They're not shying away from the CBA of this, because it was constantly brought up on the broadcast. The women seem very much united. And I'm curious to see heading into next year, heading into the postseason and the offseason and next season, how this is all going to play out, because I would hate for the league to potentially halt some of this momentum. But at the same time, I am completely pro player and completely in love with the idea of players banding together and demanding better facilities and pay.
Well, I hope they get bigger and better, but I hope that they build in a legacy plan for people that have had League Pass before they blow up, if they increase prices, because that $34 for a year is so nice.
We got to enjoy that while it lasts. Yeah.
I have advantage of that. Yeah,
I have a feeling that's not.
This might be the last year that's happening.
Yeah, we got to enjoy it.
But even if it goes to $50, it's worth it. Like that's a steal.
Oh my gosh!
But I also hope they expand the season and give us some more games. Then there's really not very many games. What is a 60 game?
40. I think it's in the 40s currently. It's about half.
Is it 40s?
Of NBA.
Okay. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
We don't need 82.
No.
But I think there's definitely a desire to increase the regular season. So, like you said, maybe let's even say 50.
Yeah, because when you're looking at it, and it's like we're at the halfway point, and there's the number one team has 15 wins or 14 wins. It's like 14. Wait a second, that number seems wrong.
If it feels off, but, yes.
But watching the girls play too, if anybody. Last thing I'll say here on this is people that have watched the league know how physically the women play. I think that having a longer season might also result in more injuries and other things. But as we see, Caitlin Clark struggling with groin injury. Groins injury. What do we do when it's one side or the other? Because is it one groin? When it's one side of one groin, is it groins? I don't know what the singular plural of it all is.
What the academic
Yeah,
medical
because if you
term is?
tweak your right side, it's not the whole groin. It's just the right side of the groin. But like if you get kicked in the groin, you think the whole thing. So I don't really understand what the terminology is there. If you're listening, if you're like an anatomy expert, groins, what's happening? It's kind of like scissors. I have but one. I don't have a pair of scissors because otherwise I just have knives. So I don't understand. Help me out here.
I never thought about this. You might be onto something, my friend.
Pants? I have pant. I don't have pants. Did they used to only put like one leg on and then another leg on and like tie them at the crotch? I don't understand. So anyway, same thing. You can go British and call them trousers all you want. It's still plural. Tyler, I don't know what happened here, and I have a what happened here today. So I think we should get into it. What happened here? Theater edition.
What happened here?
Tyler, I've sent pictures. I don't know if I think I sent you the video, right? Did I send you the video, the little live tour? I'm pretty sure I said like ignore my breathing through my respirator, right?
You did.
I didn't listen to it, but I could hear myself just through the whole thing because I was huffing and puffing around that shop. I had just moved a bunch of stuff. We moved the fire cabinet, and the fire cabinet is a solid metal box. It is, I don't know how much it weighs, probably around 300 pounds, maybe more. And then you have the top box that goes on top of it. That's probably 150. Actually, I take that. It's probably more than that. I have no idea. We kind of levered it onto the top. We certainly were going to try to pick it up or we would have hurt ourselves. So we had to move that around. Before we did, we had moved all of this stuff out. Now, for those of you at home, I want to make a couple of things clear. When you are in a shared space where nobody really has a clear idea of who's responsible for what, bad things can happen. Because we let this, and I'm including myself here, let this area go a little bit neglected with cleanup because we tore the whole place apart, planning to rebuild it in our kind of like our most fluent way possible. We want everything to sort of flow from one thing to another, and if we need to move things around, we can. And that was always the idea. We have one shop, no storage anywhere. So if we build something, it's got to go in the shop, and we can't then use it as a shop if it's also storing things. So making things mobile is important. That said, when you start pulling out furniture and looking behind it for the first time in years, maybe decades, you can find some horrors. And I found horror. The sheer volume of mouse feces and pack rat feces embedded in sawdust and nesting material that used to be paper towel, toilet paper. We have a lot of toilet paper around there. It's not because we have a bathroom nearby, but we use it to make props and do paper mache projects and stuff with for our plays. If somebody leaves a lid just cracked open, it's now open access. You've 100% experienced this because I remember one day we went to the printer to load at an MHS in the J-Pod to load paper, and we pulled it out. Some of the mints you had on your desk were in the printer, partially eaten by a mouse that had taken them and scurried them away. Do you remember this?
I remember that well.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if anything is left out at all and is a potential area, we are out in the desert. There aren't any other structures around. It's gonna happen. What I took away from it all is, if not us, who? And it's now our responsibility to make sure everything is clean, everything is ordered. I'm not going to put the wood shop on the list of cleaning areas for our cleaning service folks when they got classrooms to worry about and the entire auditorium to worry about. I'm not going to be like, hey, could you go clean out the miter saw real quick? That's just not a fair or reasonable thing to ask. But there's some overlap in different spaces, but it's a good reminder that if something needs to get done and you need to rely on other people, unless those people are people that you know it's their job and you can trust them to get it done and they're equipped to get it done and correctly, just do it yourself. You just got to commit to doing it. And if it's for the best for everybody, just do it. And it's when people are asking me, why don't I ask for help in the shop? Why don't I ask for people to come in? It's because it's like, it's not their problem. It's why am I going to ask all these people to do these things? Because usually the answer to is, we'll help you. It'll be in August. No, I need it now. It has to happen now. Like I need it right now. So just do it myself and take care of it. Because whatever, a couple of days of ick to avoid it entirely in the future, totally worth it. And I think that it's the commitment to just getting it done and to recognizing that Walmart was right. When I worked at Walmart, man, there was a poster in that break room that has a phrase that most of us have seen or know at some point. It might not be your job, but it is your problem. And I have to let that settle in sometimes. Go like, yeah, maybe this isn't my job, but I don't know whose job it is. So it's mine now. Let's just do it and be done with it. And then I'll know that it wasn't me if something happens to. So that's also, freeing in that respect. But it's been a really, really productive week. I'm really proud of the progress. I can see how great it's going to be. There's a lot of work yet to do, and I just want a positive experience for the kids and for the future of the program, whether it's me running it or someone else. I just really want to set everybody up for success, feel good in the space, feel safe in the space, and I don't want to step on anything crunchy anymore. I'm over it.
I'm still thinking about that poster. It may not be your job, but it is your problem. That's a bar, man. That's tough. And I did listen to what came after that. Very inspiring.
Well, of course, but I always, that sat with me because when I saw it, 18 years old, see that in there, I'm like, F that. I'm not doing any of that. Yeah. Like, get that all the way out of here.
But
I'm making
now
$5.25 an hour. You can go kick rocks.
It hits differently now, though, in your current context.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm salaried now. It's a little easier to live on that. When they were making minimum wage, so I lied. I was not making $5.25. I was making $5.50. $5.25 was minimum wage when I started my 7-year career at Walmart. I looked at that and thought, like, if that problem is in the bathroom, I promise you it is still not my job, nor is it my problem. I'm not doing that. I'll push carts. I'll straighten things. You need help on the cash register, I'm your guy. But we're talking about urinals. We're going to need to see the money.
Period.
Yeah.
I support you fully with that.
Yes. In fact, crazy, but wonderful week.
I love it. Well, Brad, speaking of great careers, obviously you had a 7-year run with Walmart, an epic run, if you will. Someone who is on an epic run and has only been employed with their company for just 1 year. We just passed, I think, or coming up on 1 year, not even a full year yet. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, wasn't it Forbidden Door? That she debuted to most of the world?
That was June, yeah, and didn't sound with WWE till really the fall and proper. Or at least late. Brad, I love Stephanie Vaquer. We have a segment specifically to talk about this. I'm going to stop the suspense. Let's get to it. Please hit the music.
I certainly tried.
It's time for Steph Watch.
We're going to try it again.
Steph Watch.
I guess the computer was buffering.
That's what I'm talking about. We just had to build the suspense a little bit more. You know we embrace the mess here on Gimmick Infringement.
Wow.
We know what you came here for. It is time for Steph Watch. Okay, here are Stephanie Vaquer's accomplishments since we last spoke, Brad. First, she won the Evolution Battle Royal to earn a title shot at Clash in Paris. I loved Evolution, by the way. We have not spoken about the show on air. Fantastic.
So good.
Secondly, Vaquer saved Nikki Bella from a post-match attack at the hands of the Secret Hervis on Raw. And then finally, Vaquer defeated Alba Fire on SmackDown. I was moved by the post-Battle Royal in-ring promo La Primera got at Evolution. The crowd loved her in Atlanta, and we are so up. Who do you think she's going to take on at Clash in Paris? You think Naomi wins at SummerSlam?
Man, I think so. It has to, right? Like, it has to be.
I would love to see her take on any of those three ladies.
Sure.
Naomi, Io, or Rhea. There could be great stories with each of them. I agree with you, though. That moment of Naomi's cash-in, completely unexpected, and yet completely the right move. Naomi needs to have a meaningful title run here.
What an ending.
And yeah, what an ending. And yeah, I think Stephanie Vaquer is going to take her on in Paris. We shall see. Let's stick with WWE. We are recording a few hours before TNA Slammiversary. Now, AJ Styles will appear in a TNA ring for the first time in years. Several NXT talents are also featured on the card, including JC Jane and Trick Williams, defending their respective championships. As of this recording, the company has sold just under 7,000 tickets. The show will sport the largest U.S. attendance in years for TNA, if not all time.
Yeah.
Given the expected success of this event, how would you assess the working relationship between WWE and TNA as it stands currently? And, Brad, do you think we'll see AJ Styles wrestle in a TNA ring this year?
I mean, is he making an appearance or is he wrestling? Because it could be one of those things where he shows up to make an appearance and somebody challenges him on the spot and they have an impromptu match. I can see that happening. I can see it happening, but I don't know. There was a lot of hurt feelings there. And it's different leadership now, and the company is totally different. But that was part of the reason he left, is they wanted him to take a massive pay cut, and he was their biggest star. So he dipped, and that's how he ended up in New Japan. And then eventually, over in WWE, it was because TNA didn't want to pay him what he was worth. So I think there's probably still a bit of an association there of, no, I don't want to do that. What would rule is if they brought back the ring. If we got the multi-sided ring, if we got that back for an AJ Styles match, I mean, what a cool way to cap off a career. Because he's probably thinking about how much longer he's got left, and he's had some injuries recently, and he's not getting younger by any stretch. But for him to return to TNA, two things. Number one, it would be great to see him come out for a match, and number two, come out to have a match with his old theme. It's got to be the TNA theme. If he comes out to that, that's got me curious enough to think about buying the pay-per-view tonight, where I otherwise don't really care about what's happening because I haven't watched any of those things. So it's not that I don't care that good wrestling is going to occur. I'm not invested in anything that's happening within any part of TNA, NXT. I'm just really not watching it because time, pal. So I'll catch the social media clips, but this one sounds fun. This one sounds like it might be one that I need to check out.
It's a big deal, and not only and we'll see, because obviously we're going to release this episode after the show, but it seems like they're going to pull out, they being TNA, pronouns pal, are going to pull out all the stops to make this event a success. So we already have a card to be hyped for, just based on what's been announced, especially now that they confirmed AJ Styles will in fact be there. Over social media, they were using the word phenomenal, and TNA president Carlos Silva was really leaning into that. They decided to confirm that AJ Styles will be there. I would imagine we'll get some other surprises on this show. It's the biggest house they've done, again, in a long time, if not ever, in the United States. It really is an inflection point for TNA. What stood out to me, Brad, is for a while I thought, okay, I see how WWE is benefiting. They're getting to use top TNA talent, kind of in a way like a feeder system to the main roster, at least to NXT.
I was going to say feeding NXT, sure, right, but not the main roster.
And beating TNA champions. So, Roxanne Perez beat Jordan Grace. Jordan Grace, of course, eventually signs with WWE NXT. And it seems the Joe Hendrys, and I would even say at this point the Mike Santanas of the world, could also be NXT or main roster bound if they do decide to sign with WWE when their contracts are up. The Hardys appearing on NXT, right? Great look. What's the benefit for TNA? This has been, I don't know if I want to say the first, but definitely the loudest sign to me that this deal has worked wonders for both. And you could even argue TNA has been the bigger winner in all of this, because if you look at where they were at before the NXT agreement, certainly an upward trajectory, but being able to get 7,000 fans at the UBS Arena for this event, which features NXT talent in some of the bigger matches, but also showcases a lot of their signed talent. Leon Slater, I predicted, is going to dethrone Moose. That's going to be a big look for him to be the new X Division champion. You're building Masha Slamovich. I actually predict she's going to beat JC Jane at Slammiversary and become retain their TNA championship, but also become the new NXT Women's Championship. It's a title for title Jones situation. You know, you are building your side talent while utilizing the name value and in-ring prowess of NXT. You know, I saw Trick Williams at that Tempe show. The crowd was lit for him. This is a clear sign to me that, okay, this was a really prudent move for TNA, and it's not just a matter of Joe Hendry being defeated in 3 minutes by Randy Orton at WrestleMania. This has actually done a great job of building TNA Plus and just building a larger fan base, and not just folks who will tune in for TNA Plus, but people who will actually pay money to see your show, whether it's at ASU's Hockey Arena in Tempe, or in this case, it's in Long Island, UBS Arena, and folks are actually going to come out and spend money to see you. So I've really been blown away by the number they did for this show. I did not anticipate they were going to be able to move that many tickets. It's a great time for wrestling. It's an awesome time to be a fan, and I'm eager to see if we'll see more of AJ Styles in TNA. I'm like you, Brad. I think not only will he appear at Slammiversary, but I could easily see him wrestling one match in a TNA ring, one more match, and maybe that is one of the matches when TNA, dare I say, makes their television debut.
Yeah.
Again, President Carlos
Great
Silva
way
has
to do that, yes.
Carlos Silva has teased,
Yeah.
okay, maybe within the next 30 to 60 days, we'll have an announcement about a TV deal. That could be announced at Slammiversary. Again, we'll see when this episode drops. I could absolutely see part of the advertisement for the debut launch being AJ Styles versus insert name on the TNA roster, and people would certainly tune in for that.
Yeah, I think that I was just looking it up. Spike TV, when TNA was on Spike TV.
That's a throwback. Spike TV.
Well, I'm trying to think of like when was like
1,000
peak
Ways
TNA,
to Die.
right?
You remember that?
Like peak TNA was Kurt Angle, and it was Christopher Daniels and Samoa Joe, and like stacked loaded roster. When did that slow down? And it had to have been like it was in the 2010s. And 2014 is when they went off of Spike. Where did they go after that? Where were we watching TNA after
Destination America.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, that was 11 years ago, Tyler. How many kids are watching now that even have a semblance of an idea of what TNA is or was before actually getting into WWE and watching TNA on their screens going like, what's TNA? Because let's just say they were 4. You know, they were born in 2010. They're not going to remember TNA being on a channel you actually had and didn't have to go searching for. So for them to have to, you know, like 4 or 5 years old, that's 2009, 2010. And then, you know, jump forward now, they probably, if they're still watching the product, are going like, oh, this is cool. I didn't know there were other wrestling companies aside from AEW and WWE. I had no idea that TNA was also a thing. And I think the partnership worked really well just from brand identity. Over the last couple of years, we've seen the TNA champ show up at Royal Rumble, specifically the Women's Rumble. And now we have all this crossover stuff with NXT. The NXT thing is always so weird to me because they never acknowledge that they're WWE. They always acknowledge their NXT. So when people are talking about like, oh, there's this WWE TNA crossover stuff. No, there's not. There's TNA and NXT crossover stuff, but not WWE crossover stuff, except AJ Styles is coming. But AJ Styles is from TNA. So like, I don't really know what's happening. This is it's very soupy how they've said we're going to keep it split and separate, but not here, but we're going to do it this way, but sometimes different. And it's starting to feel a little bit like ROH and AEW in that we're getting like some weird crossover stuff where I don't really know where everything fits. I think the TNA NXT experiment has worked out wonderfully for probably both parties, because TNA people that are like, I'm not going to watch WWE because I want to watch real wrestling, are probably now going, oh, actually there's real wrestling over here. I didn't know that. And getting to get eyes on a different thing. So it's probably worked out well. I don't know what the viewership hit has been for NXT, if it's bumped it up, stayed the same, what it's been. And there's obviously a lot of factors that go into those things, but I think it's been great. The group that I think that I would be the most upset about this right now is I really feel bad for AAA, Tyler. I feel like we had the worlds collide, and that's it. The closest we've gotten after that is AAA's been doing stuff with TNA. We've had we had Santina and the little snake thing against the iguana. Like, that was hilarious.
I bet you that. Yeah. It was Santino versus Iguana. Also,
Santino Iguana.
Also Layeska versus the Cobra.
Yes, yeah.
The match.
I couldn't remember the name.
For.
I was like, it's Cobra. I was like, I can't remember.
No, shout out to you. Sent me that clip. I was not aware that was going down.
I had no idea.
It was everything I needed last week, and then some.
Oh, it was amazing. It was hilarious. It was amazing. It was like those gimmicks had to get together at some point. And I thought it was great. But I also was like, all right, this is AAA doing stuff with TNA, probably brought together by WWE or NXT folks or TKO, whoever's running all that stuff. I have no idea. Is that Triple H, Nick Khan? Is that Shawn Michaels? Or is that some other thing that's happening that we're unaware of? I have no idea how that works, but I just feel like TNA's partnership with WWE versus WWE's basically ownership of AAA feels very different, where TNA's feels more like a partnership and AAA's feels like a afterthought takeover at the moment. Maybe long term I'll feel differently about it, but right now it just doesn't feel the same. Not to be all negative about it, but I think TNA's partnership has worked out really well.
Yeah, something to keep an eye on. I enjoyed a lot of what we saw on Worlds Collide, and as to your point, so much of our collective wrestling fandom involves asking the question, what now, or what's next? It's not what's next, it's who next. Who's next? Goldberg. The Goldberg interview.
Yeah.
He's bitter again. It's okay, we got this moment, or we got this event, it happened, it ruled, and then what's to come? In the case, as you said, Brad, in the case of AAA and WWE, okay, well, now what's next? Are we going to get more integration? I know I can buy a Mystery Iguana tee on WWE Shop, but what's the next move for that partnership versus, as you pointed out, the dreaded sort of manifest destiny of it all, where okay, we bought AAA, we have the signature event, but what can fans look forward to? Because if we get more of that Worlds Collide experience and they make it even better, as fans, we're in for a really exciting remainder of 2025.
Yeah, it was really interesting because the Tony Khan quotes came out about it. That's why the AAA stuff was on my mind. I guess they had like a working agreement with Release to Go, working with AEW. We're coming to AEW, and they did the event with them. And then the second it ended, they announced Release to Go was going to WWE. So it's like they just did stuff behind my back, and that's sort of how that partnership just ended abruptly. Because I was curious, like, why did it just stop? Because we were getting Vikingo and we're getting all kinds of stuff.
Right. Yeah, Vikingo versus Kenny Omega.
And I mean, we're getting El Grande Americano is doing some AAA stuff, but like, that's what we're doing. Cool, we're showcasing lucha wrestling, but I just don't know if it's highlighting the company.
We've seen it play out. You mentioned Dragon Lee, Stephanie Vaquer, who we led with earlier.
Dragon Lee, thank you, Dragon Lee.
Yeah. We led with earlier in this episode where Stephanie Vaquer popped up at Forbidden Door.
Yeah.
We've documented this on many occasions. Showed up and showed out in her match versus Mercedes Moné, and then seemingly in record time, she was wrestling at a house show in Mexico for WWE because WWE said, "Oh no, we see the talent. Let's make it happen." I'm sure it was a lesson learned for Tony Khan and company that okay, we gotta maybe navigate. But how cool is it that talent now have so many options? They're a huge winner in all this as well, is you get to really kind of name your price and bet on yourself and decide where you want to sign with, versus years ago, especially during the downfall of TNA, when it was okay, it's either WWE or New Japan.
Pre-Impact TNA when it was petering out,
Right, and now it's just a completely different climate, which is good for all of us, fans,
we have like
talent, everybody.
Smaller but thriving markets. By all accounts, you have GCW, you have MLW. There's Defy is doing well. There's just all these different smaller independent promotions that are also doing well, especially with streaming being an option. You can. Ashe, you can do like a $5, $10, $15 viewing pay-per-view experience for people, make some money on the back end, and we get like really kind of raw, unfiltered pro wrestling versus the stuff that we're getting for a televised product. And I just think that's super cool because these athletes and performers are getting paid. And, we were talking about Colt Cabana being at a table doing the signing when he was in Phoenix for the show you got to go to. I was excited to see him on TV again. It was, granted he was being murdered, but like it was exciting to see him on TV again this week.
Regardless, Saturday popped up.
But Stephanie Vaquer probably had an offer coming at her from both angles, and it's
She did.
Which
one? And documented from Vaquer herself, AEW's is more financially lucrative.
Yeah.
But HBK gives you a call, and you get some back and forth, and you decide that you're going to take your talents to Orlando. And my goodness, Brad, if that wasn't a great decision, I just
incredible decision.
Obviously, so high on her for so many reasons. It has to be so gratifying to see the reaction and, dare I say, the push she's getting. Again, we'll see the what now of it. The whole build-up has been, okay, well, clearly she's going to be in a title program sooner than later. She wins the Battle Royal. She specifically gets in-ring promo time at Evolution. Amazing. And now the match is going to be against whoever the women's champ is. You and I predict it's going to be Naomi. What happens after that? Especially if Steph loses, what's going to be the move? Does she kind of fall into, dare I say, obscurity? Or is she still prioritized creatively on that show? We shall see. It's always about the what next, what now.
And to your point, I wonder if we look back and think if Julia made the right move, or if she would have been better served being in AEW. Because right now, I
talked about
feel
Julia
like,
in a minute, and she's a champ.
And that's the point. Is like, yeah, she's a champ. She's being kind of featured, but I also feel like, I don't know, that maybe that wasn't the right move. But what a great thing to have options. She's getting paid. She's getting TV time, experience.
Amen.
People get to know who she is. So if she does ultimately end up leaving or something, and I don't see it happening, but if she ends up leaving, she's getting paid. And I'm suddenly stunned. I should ask my question so I can get out there and ask why my house is suddenly filled with the scent of vinegar. Okay, Tyler, what the hell is happening? I had a question that I wanted to pivot on it. So Asuka had a social media promo, and not really a promo. It was just her having a conversation. I think you saw it more than likely, but I don't know if you did, about her thoughts about Bayley and Lyra's match. She was gushing about it and said it was one of her favorite matches. She loved the match so much because proper pro wrestling. It wasn't flips. It wasn't jumping off ropes. It was in the ring, on the mat. They were wrestling. And it was sort of a throwback match. And I wanted to ask you that, Tyler, is WWE navigating back toward those kinds of matches really a good thing for what the company has been trying to do, or the long-term health of the wrestlers? Or is it something you think that will push fans away from the product?
Oh, I think it's the former and not the latter, for sure. I think it's a great thing. Evolution was sandwiched by two great contests. I'm thinking back to that Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria match. Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria versus Bayley to open up Evolution. Great spot for those three. They put on an outstanding match. Mm-hmm. And then, as you pointed out through that Asuka social media video, Bayley versus Lyra on Raw, which I did see live. It was fantastic. Clearly, I'm eager to see what
we're big Bayley fans around here.
We are. And WWE has really invested in Lyra Valkyria being one of those talents who's next up and is a foundational piece of their weekly programming. I actually believe they've done quite well with building her up. She has the fun entrance, the crowd can sing along. She's really good in ring, and clearly a foundational piece for that next generation of talent on the women's roster. Yeah, I think it's only going to expand, Brad. I think it's only going to be positive, hard-hitting. Again, a story is involved there. It's not just a fun bout for the sake of a fun bout. There's actually a story being weaved throughout it. Obviously it was to find out who's going to face Becky Lynch at SummerSlam. And yeah, fans want more of that, even though the build to Evolution was so lackluster and so unbecoming of what it should be and all of the women involved. And why do we have an all-dude commentary team as well? That was so weird.
Yes.
Wade Barrett and Michael Cole no shade to both of those guys. Very good at what they do. But I just thought, man, that's just odd. And then some of the commentary during the night was like, this would have been upgraded if we had two ladies here. But point being, Evolution, speaking of ticket sales, they had what, Brad, like 8,000 people ended up at State Farm Arena in Atlanta for this event, even with the lackluster build to it. To me, it was such a success sitting from my couch watching that show, that if you pair the success of Evolution with these matches that we've been seeing, again, with the sheer depth that you have on this roster, I think we're going to see more of it. I think it's going to really bring in a new generation of fans, because we had this boon of the women's Evolution, the 4 horsewomen, so on and so forth. And I think we're all now wondering, how can we get back to that level of fervor and that investment in the women's division? I think now is as perfect as a time than ever to have that. So I want more. I want Evolution to be an annual tradition. I want the women to continue to get more meaningful time and creative on the main roster. And again, I think that's only going to do wonders for the business of WWE. Asuka is spot on. Those two ladies delivered a great match, and I only see positives moving forward. And we can use Evolution to build off of that, but we've also seen in the past where it's a bit inconsistent for our liking, and we have questions about what's being decided. I want more of it. I thought they killed it on Raw.
I completely agree. I want more of it too. That style of wrestling is why I fell in love with FTR, to be honest with you, because that's the kind of stuff that they do. They do the ground and pound stuff. And usually if it's like an off the top rope thing, it's like a double axe handle off the top rope outside of their finishing move. Right.
Right. That's press.
Yeah. And I just think it's a lot of fun, but to get the women to get into it and do it, it kind of reminds me of like, all the clips I've seen of like old All Japan, just people throwing haymakers and just, I'm not saying I want everybody to suddenly beat the crap out of each other, but I just really like that. And it's a lot of fun to watch, because it's more of a like, ooh, what are they going to do to get out of that? And what are they going to, versus, we're going to watch somebody set up on the top rope and watch the crowd pile together. And hopefully the camera does it in such a way that we're focused on something else and not watching the pile develop. And,
right.
Cause then it takes me out of and go like, ooh, what move are they going to do onto that crowd, instead of like watching the match and just enjoying the match.
And when it's at its best, isn't wrestling supposed to be a bit of a variety show?
Yeah, exactly.
And that we get a taste of all of these. I don't think the pile up is going to stop. You and I feel the same way about that.
It shouldn't. It's a ton of fun.
Yeah, exactly. But when we get a match like we saw on Raw, that to me that really speaks to the variety show that is ideally weekly wrestling television. It has entry points for a lot of different fans who are looking for different types of in-ring action.
Well, I thought it was a lot of fun, and hopefully we get to see more of that. We know that they have plenty of talent to go around. But Tyler, I can't wait to hear your thoughts. I know, throwing back to Shane Gillis here, we could easily bring up his monologue and his jokes about this particular topic. It's time for It's a Work. We have not done this in a long time. I think Aaron Rodgers might have been the last one we did.
Dang, I think you might be right.
But it's time for It's a Work. The Epstein investigation. Play the music.
That was a great lead-in. Thank you, my friend. And you led me here perfectly. FBI Chief Kash Patel recently announced that he and his cronies, that's my interpretation, not the actual facts.
AP.
In case you were wondering,
So
that's not the New York Times report. That's me. He and his cronies thoroughly examined the highly speculated Jeffrey Epstein files, and the conclusion is there's nothing to see here. We can all move on. Huh? Much to the chagrin of his supporters, President Donald Trump is even urging the public to move on. Of course, this is a complete 180 from the rhetoric used during the campaign, And B, very convenient given the rumors that Trump may be implicated in those files. Epstein allegedly had clients across both sides of the political aisle, Brad. Many would have a lot to lose if this information became public.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
For all these reasons, the conclusion of the Epstein investigation is a complete work. You can't convince me that there's nothing there and we move on. There's been so much investment from the public in figuring out what exactly for years. And really, speaking of across both aisles, maybe one of the few things we can agree on, there's been this interest in releasing the Epstein Files, seeing the names on here, and then we judge accordingly. Or even, dare I say, the legal system play itself out, because you have victims who have allegedly been victimized throughout the years, and this list could perhaps provide that justice. But again, apparently there's nothing here, Brad. I think it's a complete work, and I wonder if this sort of call to action is going to remain, or if, as honestly both parties have done well over the years, and particularly the Republican Party, you sort of move on to the next topic, or you have this next distraction in hopes that the shiny object is going to lead you to forget what's going on this other side over here. Or if you tell people nothing to see here, let's move on, it's all okay, people will believe you. I just think now as a society, we're not willing to trust the word of elected officials and leave it at that. It's a complete work. Am I tripping? What do you think?
No, not at all. It's absolutely a work. This is the most obvious work of all works. I'm not a conspiracy theory guy. This isn't a conspiracy. This is obvious. This is like the most obvious thing I've ever seen in my life. This is like being the only person in a room with a dead body, and you're holding the gun and smoke's coming out of it. And you going like, somebody must have been here. I don't know who did this. What are we doing? This is so crazy. So I think that if this happened, this conclusion happened, what is it? It's July of 2025. If this happened in a couple of years, this swings the election no matter what. Because it's happening early, it'll put enough distance between now and election time to prevent, let's be honest, everybody that's involved in this from being implicated and maybe torpedoing plans for elections. JD Vance looks silly now. Donald Trump has looked silly about this for years and years and years. He's that hot dog meme. Like we gotta find out, like it's just
not the meme.
It's silly, man. Like it's just silly. And to your point, I think it's who thought the thing that would universally unite America would be Epstein.
For real.
Like, it doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't make any sense that people think that this is okay. And it doesn't make any sense that people are being fooled by this. I also don't think they are. My fear is that, let's say somebody else gets elected to office and decides, you know what, we're going to release those files to find out that they've been deleted. So I have a lot of questions. And I think that this is going to stir up some fervor that's going to be uncomfortable for a lot of people. I wonder if Anonymous gets involved. I wonder if like other entities start getting involved and interested.
Some whistleblowers.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the fallout is here. But really, really disappointing to see this, and it's absolutely a work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well said, Brad. Well said. AEW. All right, my friend. First week back from AEW All in Texas. Yes. Here's my question for you. We saw 2 solid episodes of AEW television this week. Mm-hmm. Wednesday for Dynamite, Saturday Collision. Hangman is champ, in case you haven't heard. Athena is here, and Swerve is starting a rivalry with Okada. Yes. I want you... yes, very exciting. I want you to give us one talent or one potential storyline / rivalry that you are most excited for in what feels like the birth of a new season of creative for All Elite Wrestling.
Darby and Mox. I want to know where this goes. Darby's here to ruin his life, right? I think it's something like what he said, I'm here to take everything away from you. I'm here to tear it all down. And so far, he hasn't really done much of anything directly to Jon Moxley. He appeared in the ring and coffin dropped a bunch of dudes outside of it. He distracted Mox into a buckshot lariat by just being up top on Dynamite. So I'm really excited to see where this goes. We know that Darby and Mox have had, a rivalry before. They've had matches before where Mox is like, this isn't going to end well for you. And you know it, stuff like that. And I think this could be really good. I really want to see that. Obviously I'm super excited for Swerve and Okada. That's the match I'm most excited to see out of all of this. I thought Kenny and Okada did a great job. I thought it was a really good match. I don't think it was anywhere near the best in their feud. I thought that match was good, but not like it didn't melt my brain or anything. But I think Okada Swerve could be something we haven't seen before. And I think that one would blow us all away. That is going to rule. I'm excited for that match. I'm really excited to see what happens with Darby and maybe even with Tony Storm. And I don't really know, where do you think Tony's going here?
An Athena match.
Is it Athena? Is it Tekla? Is it?
That'd be fun too. I've been very impressed with Tekla. Megan Bayne could want a rematch with Tony Storm at some point. Run back that match they had at Dynasty. Maybe this time with a different outcome because Megan Bayne continues to pick up singles wins. Mm-hmm. I think the move is going to be Athena. But whenever Athena does get that first title match, I'm of the belief that she should win that thing. And for Timeless Tony Storm, I mean, man, she is just so on a different level right now that she doesn't need the AEW Women's World Championship, but it just makes so much sense for her to hold that championship because she is far and away the face of that division. I think also it helps her character when, she comes out or she's on the, what would Taz say, the gimmick balcony or the gimmick...
The gimmick balcony, I think is what he was trying to say. I can't remember what he's like.
And she has the title and she say, I forget the exact quotes from a promo, but here's the run it back on Dynamite. It's probably not good for me to share on YouTube anyway. But she's just saying, hey, I am here. I am timeless. I am your champion. And please celebrate me in the most babyface way possible. I think her having the title for the next few months is a good call. And then someone needs to defeat her and someone needs to rise the ranks and get to that championship level in AEW aside from Mercedes and Tony. Everyone you mentioned are viable candidates, Brad. Tekla may be a bit too soon, but Athena certainly, since we know she won it all in and is, has the right to challenge for a title. Megan Bayne is right there. I think Queen Aminata is still probably a season away from holding gold. That's probably a 2026 goal that I would like to see accomplished. But Athena, Megan Bayne, pick one or the other. I could for sure see them being the person to dethrone Timeless Tony. And don't forget, we have Mercedes coming back at some point. Willow is here. Chris Statlander is here. They kind of have their own thing going on. Maybe there's a tag division. But I shared this with you last week, if not the week prior. I want to see talent be elevated into that championship conversation, and I believe it's going to start with Athena or Megan Bayne against Timeless Tony. I just love that character and want her to be champion for however long is needed. She's awesome.
In terms of winning the championship, I don't think Tekla would do it right now, but I think that
good.
would be a fun program though, and having her that match would rule. So, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. And don't forget, you have like when available, you got just Sheeta out there floating around.
Yeah, you got a deep roster.
Or I guess Mina Shirakawa is injured, broke her hand, and I think they said that on commentary, but. Who knows? And I also don't know if that's actually, if there's that storyline or is that, but it sounded like it was real. So there's so much going on there. I don't know. And then, Will Ospreay is probably taking a little vacation here after getting murdered. I liked what they were doing with Cope and FTR, and that's my bridge into my question for you. So we have all of these new storylines. It's sold, refresh. It's sort of like all in was 100% their Mania, and now what comes out of Mania, what comes out of All In, what's the next step? Apparently it's Hangman versus the Death Rider still, but we have Darby getting in the way, and Hangman just got another win. So what's the reason for them to stick around anymore? So, all that being said, FTR's music hit. Cope was cutting a promo, and it's like, Christian's a dick. I don't want anything to do with him. I didn't go out there to save him. I came out there to get to FTR. Well, you know, when you're getting to FTR, it turns out you do probably need a partner. I'm sure that's where this is going, and I don't think it's going to happen quickly. I think it's going to be a very slow build to that moment. I think even Cope picks up a tag partner and it doesn't work out. They lose, and then Christian eventually comes in for a save, and then they're like, the only way we're going to beat them is together or something like that, and then give that to us at, I don't know, Revolution or something. I can see that happening. So here's my question, because Big Stoke came out instead, and he ate the heck out of that spear. Tyler, where does Big Stoke, Stokely Hathaway, rank among the pantheon of managers?
Contemporary or all time?
Contemporary or all time?
Wow.
Because right now, managers, how many are there?
There's not a lot.
There's like 3.
Mm-hmm.
Stoke, Callis, Heyman.
Paul Heyman's number 1, of course.
Paul Heyman's number 1 all time, of course.
Yeah.
But
and contemporary.
But yeah, contemporary and all time. And then after that, it's like, what do we got?
Don Callis. Don Callis is effective.
Jimmy Hart, Jim Cornette.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, like you got some other people, Miss Elizabeth.
Right. I would say.
Is that a manager or a valet? I don't.
Yeah,
you know.
Maybe this is a hot take, maybe not. I'll let you decide. I don't know that Stoke makes my top 5 all time, but he has the requisite skills to be in that conversation. I need to see more of what this partnership with FTR is, because I really enjoyed him with Chris Statlander. To me, that was taken away too soon. There was a lot of value in just the optics of having that flip. You know, historically we're used to a guy being managed by a woman, but to have Stokely manage the Chris Statlander, I love the optics, I love the talent involved, and I wish we got more of that. So for me, it's kind of a show and prove for Stokely. Right now, contemporary-wise, you laid it out. Of course, Paul Heyman is number 1. Don Callis is always on TV. He is effective at what he does. I don't think there's any denying that. And then you could easily make the case for Stokely slotting in probably at number 3. And maybe I'm forgetting someone. I'm running in my mind right now. TNA, NXT. I think Stokely is in that top 5 conversation for sure. All time, I wouldn't position him there yet, just because I need more of a body of work. He has quotable lines. He's definitely meme worthy. He's a great page to follow on Twitter. Yeah. But body of work wise, I would love to see him utilize those skills in some really meaningful programs. Maybe FTR is that pathway. I just wish that we would have seen more with him and Chris. I thought that had a lot of legs to it. How about you? Where are you ranking him?
Completely agree. Because you have Paul Heyman, and if you're going all time, you have, like I said, Jimmy Hart, Jim Cornette, Paul Bearer. You have like all of these, right? Like there's a lot of people, but like even Don Callis was the Jackal. And then he was Don Callis. He was over at Impact, and then he's over, like New Japan. There's all just floating around. I know TNA had what is the
Father James Mitchell?
That's the one. Yeah, I was like, there's like the priest
guy.
I can't remember. Yeah.
Source of my nightmares for many years.
Yeah, but a lot of them are like, are they managers? We call them managers, but they're not really like that kind of thing. Jimmy Hart, I don't know if you could ever say was really a manager. He was just sort of like the hype man, yelling at people, not really manager. Miss Elizabeth, never really a manager.
Trish Stratus transitioned, but when she started out with Test and Albert, she was very effective. Yeah,
and I think because Stoke has been with, like, he had that business faction when he was doing stuff with MJF as a partnership.
Right.
He had the stuff with Chris Statlander. He then was doing a whole bunch of stuff over at ROH, and then now he's back on the main roster again with AEW and doing the stuff with FTR. And we've seen various iterations. There's the jumpsuit version of him, which we're getting again now. Then the previous version where he had a jumpsuit and then went into like the suit and tie. I think he went suit and tie, jumpsuit, suit and tie, and we're back to jumpsuit again. If I have that right, I'm not sure, but I've enjoyed all of his work. But to your point, the quotable lines, the moments he's given us, over time. Yeah, he's a great mouthpiece for people. Absolutely phenomenal. I really liked him with Stat. I don't actually love him with FTR right now. To me, it doesn't make a lot of sense where they don't really need anybody.
Exactly.
Like, they're
it's
Cash. Cash is a really good talker. He's not as good as Dax, but that doesn't mean he's bad. Everybody talks about him like he's not good on the mic. Get out of here with that. That's crazy. But you know, I don't know that they need Stoke to be the mouthpiece. I have enjoyed him coming out to the theme though. That was great. Just because it's like, oh yeah, what a great way to get people mad at you is come out on behalf of somebody because the other people are like, well, they're not here because they're scared. They're just not here. And it's just that kind of stuff where you're like, all right, we see through this. I've really enjoyed it. I think right now, obviously he's a top manager. He's not the top manager. Paul Heyman will always be there. Number one, probably you could pin that for all time. But I don't know. I've just really enjoyed his work. I think that how often have you seen you raggedy bitch show up online? Just Stoke saying it. It's one of the funniest things to ever happen in an AEW ring. And to sort of transcend the wrestling space and just end up out there is hilarious. I've really enjoyed him. And I think one of his critiques of WWE when he was at NXT was, he wanted to do the wrestling thing. He wanted to do like taking bumps and doing that stuff. And he's been able to do that in AEW. He ate a spear from Adam Copeland from Edge. I thought that was great. So I'm excited to see what he does. I think like you, I don't think he's in my top 5 all time yet, but I could certainly see that this could end up being one of those things where it's like, we're going to look back and go like, he was incredible at what he did.
Yeah, absolutely. And to think about, you know, I was listening to the list you mentioned. Historically, how many black managers are at the top of our list? Tyler,
how many black managers?
Right. What's
like start there? Yeah.
What's the roster we're working with
right.
You know, what's the depth? Yeah, I mean, in many ways, and then I'm probably forgetting someone. So if you're watching us on YouTube, let us know in the comments.
MVP.
Of course, yeah,
but that's a tough transition because he's
but someone who their bread and butter has been a manager. Yeah, if we're looking at that list, man, it maybe in some ways Stokely is a trailblazer in that regard, just being known for the mic chops, the managerial chops. I would love that for him. I didn't even realize how many iterations of Stokely the manager we've gotten just in AEW. You brought up the MJF stable that was defunct pretty quick.
Yeah, it wasn't him. He just partnered with.
Right. This is around the Devil.
Yeah, but who was Stokely managing? Was it like the Jeff Jarrett group before Jeff Jarrett? I can't even remember.
Yeah, Sanjay Dutt. Speaking of contemporary fun managers, I like, but we don't see him nearly as much. Yeah, it's a blur for me. But yeah, man, Stokely, again, he has the requisite skills. It's pretty shocking to me that there aren't a lot of black managers in the pantheon of when we think of who's been given that time, you know, in WWE or WWF back then, in WCW, you know, some of the more well-known companies. I think there's a real lack of brothers in that regard. And Stokely, again, skill-wise, for sure going to be in that conversation. I hope that in the years to come, whether it's FTR or others, we get to see his talents utilized to their maximum ability to really also uplift talent. Because like you, even Chris Stat, I don't know that she needed him. And FTR, we know that they don't need him. I wonder if there's a talent or talents floating out there where it would be a mutual win, where Stokely would get that creative satisfaction.
Tekla.
And then also, hey, there you go, Tekla. And then also talent would be elevated by him, you know, being their manager. We'll see. It's a great question.
The Firm. It was the Firm, Tyler.
Man, that's going to be an AEW trivia question in a few years. The Firm.
I totally forgot about it, man. And then it was he had bought Private Parties contracts. Do you remember
right.
this?
There was that's Stoke's been there for a minute, but there's just been these stops and starts or stops and then never to return again. And
when we're talking strange stuff.
Where we're talking about big picture rankings, that's hindered him for me, but he has I kind of repeated myself here. He has everything needed to be one of the most memorable managers ever, and in a time where we're lacking managers, he could really be one who stands out, and I can't wait to see what's ahead for him. We'll see how this FTR partnership plays out.
Yeah, we'll see. I just saw a picture that reminded me of I think at the first Forbidden Door, he had lost that match stipulation and had to wrestle in the four-way or whatever, and he ended up in the ring with Ishii.
Yes,
he had like the gold top and the black pants. Yeah. Really great
that.
stuff. And he's hilarious. He's so funny. His stand-up is really strong, and it's really, really great. But yeah, to your point, let's see who he gets put with. That's not going to be like, let's change it in 15 minutes and put you with somebody else. Because he was the GM with Jerry Lynn at ROH, which is what he was doing when he was in ROH, which is cool. But if you weren't a member of Honor Club, you didn't get any Stoke. Tyler, what did we miss?
3 items that we missed. Number 1, Brad, you may have noticed there was no batch update because I fear I'm out on Bachelor in Paradise. It was good until it wasn't. The second episode, I didn't realize this about myself as a viewer. I need the courting in these romance shows. Batch in Paradise, they brought the Goldens to the season. Again, first ever. That's a big appeal for why you want to tune into Bachelor in Paradise this specific season. But it's just a lot of making out. They had a segment this week where it was just anonymously, you got a tablet and could swipe right on someone you'd want to kiss on the island, or swipe left if it's a no. And the segment was just them going into this private kissing booth and kissing each other. I'm not here to kink shame anyone. I need the story. I need the courtship. That's what I like about the traditional Bachelor and Bachelorette seasons. Bachelor in Paradise is just about the makeout sessions, and I had to press pause on it. I didn't even get through the full episode, Brad. I think I might be out on Bachelor in Paradise. We shall see. Audience, if you have reason for me to get back into it, again, let us know on YouTube. Let us know on social at GIPod19. But what did we miss? Number 1, I might be out on Bachelor in Paradise. Okay.
Good Lord.
Other items, both wrestling, before we get out of here, before I kick it to you. WWE SmackDown heads to Tempe at ASU's Mullet Arena this October. For our audience, pre-sale tickets will be going on sale this Wednesday at 10 a.m. Of course, that's Arizona time. And then finally, Ashe 10 is happening this weekend in Charlotte. The card is headlined by Shug D versus Khan for the Pan-African World Championship, and some other fun bouts, including Mia Friday versus Tasha Steelz. You can purchase a streaming link later this week at Ashe Wrestling. That's ASE Wrestling.com. Brad, what do we miss?
Tyler, The Dark Knight Rises turned 13. We were going to turn this into a segment today before I decided to talk about my mouse woes and my rat woes in the shop and the just disgusting stuff I've seen this week. Now, I don't know if you remember when this movie came out, but it was met with a lot of, that was okay. A lot of people disliked this film, and yet culturally, I'd say it probably had as big of an impact as Dark Knight did, just because of the Bane stuff, his voice, and certain things that came out of it. The music is incredible. Giving it a rewatch, that movie is a great movie. It's a Christopher Nolan movie. So when you're like, oh, it's not the best Christopher Nolan movie, it's like going like, yeah, this caviar. I don't know. What are we complaining about here? So I thought it was a great movie. I still like to watch it. Like when I go, which one do I want to watch? I end up turning that one on more often than I do the other two. Maybe it's because I saw Dark Knight so much when it came out in 2008. But this one in particular, I loved this. I still think it's a great movie. It holds up really well. But I feel old. The other, what did I miss? We already talked about them. So we are good to go on this end.
Well, in case you missed it, in case you're missing out every week on social media, once again, please be sure to follow us at GIPod19. We post exclusive show updates and more. You can follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, on the artist formerly known as Twitter. And please know your support means everything to Brad and I. Thank you for joining us on this episode, and we will see you next week. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.